Hello everyone, and welcome to ESRL again. I will be with you in just a second. I just need to post the stream in the Discord. Alrighty, we are back with ESRL, everyone. We are back. Rick is back in ESRL as well, which is great to see. And he says it's a wet race partially. Okay, that is going to be very interesting indeed. As everyone gets out on the grid, let's give you a little bit of a rundown of how things are going. Right on board with F1 Vetsku is the first out of the pits, but yeah, so let's have a look. ESRL. Right, so driver standings. Well, it's business as usual, really. NER Ayrton has a 30-point advantage coming into this race with 3 rounds to go. Even a DNF and a race win for Deneuve would still see Ayrton leading the championship. He has won all but one of the races that he's finished this season, crashing out of Canada and crashing out and getting disqualified from Hungary for resetting to track. But other than France, where he came third, which was the first race of the season, every other race he's won. It just doesn't look like anyone can challenge him, to be honest. Deneuve has come second to him 3 times. He just seems completely unbeatable. But Vetsku's about to get us started in Italy. I'm just going to rattle you through the constructors quickly. So Red Bull have a 36-point advantage on Aston Martin. So it seems like they're going to take this constructors title, but especially with Rick filling in for Myra today, who couldn't make it, unfortunately. Vetsku has already backed out of this lap for some reason. Yeah, it seems like he has. I'm not sure why he's done that, so let's ride on board with Martin instead, who's back. He was banned for a little while, I think, because he couldn't prove that he couldn't get footage to the admins, but now he's back, so must have gotten better internet or something, but a bit of a slide there out of the Delarogier and down towards the first and second Lesmos. And now DRS open all the way down to Ascari. I do like Martin's helmet. It's very nice. I'll give that a 9 out of 10, to be honest. That's a very nice helmet. But down to Ascari he goes. That's missing the apex of the first left-hander and hit the apex too much of the second left-hander. And he is round. So we ride on board instead with who's next. It's going to be DTS Ayrton is going to be first across the line after all of this. Obviously Vetsku's going to go again, it seems. But I'm not sure why his lap didn't come up. He must have invalidated it. But DTS Ayrton coming round to Parabolica. I'm still going to call it Parabolica. I know it's called something different now, but no one calls it that. Everyone calls it Parabolica, and I'm not going to change at all. 20.6 from DTS Ayrton. That is notably off the pace, I believe. I'm expecting pole position to be around a 19. A 19.5, I would say. Probably better than that, actually. It's probably going to be a 19.3. A low 19 is what I'm expecting for pole position. So DTS Ayrton quite a way off the pace, it seems. Vetsku coming through second Lesmo, down the straight with DRS open. It looks like he's got an Ayrton Senna helmet, which is a good tribute. But Vetsku through. Lifebout 19.7, that's more like it. From the Dutchman, as Vetsku has to just about avoid Aces, who's doing some weaving on the straight there, but just about got out of the way in time, I think, for the Finnish driver. Vetsku round Parabolica, the final corner. He's going to cross the line in a 1 minute 19.9, just 2/10 behind his Williams teammate of Lifebout. Who else is coming across the line? Donev is coming through Ascari now. Who's that in front of him? It's NER Ayrton on his outlap. So the championship leader just about stopping, getting out of the way in time. Hello Lupiz. Lupiz looking for Myra. Unfortunately Myra not racing today, I'm afraid. Donev round the final corner. What's his time going to be? Is he going to prove me wrong? A 19.3. Now that's the sort of time I was expecting to be on pole. So Ayrton's no doubt going to go 2/10 faster. Ace versus Kings is on a lap as well. Ayrton is just starting his lap. Speed Alcoholic, is he coming to the end of a lap or is he starting? No, he is the end of a lap. 19.8 from Speed. Puts in P3 but behind Lifebout. Which I don't think he'll be happy with. Avi has gone round at, that's the first chicane there. Unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. Short marker still in the pits, as is Womax. Ayrton coming through his lap will ride on board with Denis Ivanov has gone P5. Aces versus Kings. He has not had a good season at all in ESRL so far. Hopefully he can turn it around a little bit today. Only 3 rounds to go, of course. And round the final corner he comes down towards the line for Aces. A 20.7 is well off the pace and behind DTS Ayrton, and his struggles this season continue. Avi is round again at Lesmo 1. What on earth has gone on with the Mercedes there? Ayrton though coming round down towards Parabolica comes the championship leader and the defending double champion of ESRL, looking to make it 3 in a row. Around the final corner he comes and down towards the line. It's a 19.4. He's a 10.5 behind Donev. Lifebout says he's got 0-0 wings, so he's hoping it doesn't rain too much. Well, we will see. Ayrton up to P2 there. Rick in the pits. Martin is going for another lap here. So through sector 1 and down the Lesmos. Very nicely done there through Lesmo 1. Using all of the track, and then Lesmo 2. Very nice as well. DRS open. Down the straight towards the Ascari chicane. Can he challenge that time from Donev? Donev has been very good in qualifying, but just has not been able to match Ayrton in any race so far this season. Martin though coming through Ascari, very lucky to not invalidate there, as it looked like to me he went over the white line, but obviously just about stayed in. Parabolica down towards there, he's got scratches all over the side of his car, so I'm not sure what's happened to that Red Bull, but down towards the line he goes. It's a 20.0, a long way off from Martin. Very surprising for the Red Bull driver, as everything's calmed down. Everyone's got their first runs on the board. Thank you very much, Lopez. I very much appreciate that. It's good to have you here. It's a great track. Monza always produces some fantastic racing. I'm going to ride on board with DTS Ayrton because he's the only one on a lap at the moment. Everyone else on outlaps. So DTS Ayrton down towards the first chicane. Brake at about the 100-meter board, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And through the first chicane he goes. Short shift to 4th gear to avoid spinning the car on the exit. So easy to do at that first chicane. On the exit. He's a 10.5 up in Sector 1, so DTS Ayrton looking to maybe try and challenge Denis Ivanov, but that was very conservative through the De La Rogier. Would have lost quite a bit of time there, and not using all of the track like we saw Martin do on his lap through the 2 Lesmos, but still very smooth from DTS Ayrton at least, as he comes down the straight now. What's going to be Sector 2? 3/10 up, so could he challenge Denis Ivanov for P7 at the moment? Perhaps he could. The Greek driver coming down towards the final corner now. Hopefully this Williams ahead doesn't get too much in his way. Maybe it'll give him a bit of a tow towards the finish line. Around Parabolica, don't spin it now, and he doesn't, keeps it, hugs the inside line, down towards the checkered line, and it's a 20.3, not quite enough to take P7 away from Denis Ivanov, but it's a better effort from DPS Ayrton, and indeed, it puts him ahead of Wumax, his teammate, because Wumax would have gone faster if not for that improvement, so good job to DPS Ayrton. Obviously gives him a bigger gap to aces. What about Rick? He's invalidated, but I think he's just coming on to start a lap. Avi, starting a lap now. Who is furthest ahead in their lap? Lifebout, Speed Alcoholic starting, Vetsku it looks like, and he's half a tenth up in Sector 2, 2/10 up, sorry, in Sector 2, half a tenth in Sector 1, 2/10 in Sector 2. It's looking like a good lap from F1 Vetsku in the Williams. What can he do? Down towards Parabolica, he's got to nail it to keep this lap going. It looks like he's done decently there, down through the final corner and down towards the line. What's it going to be for the Finnish driver? 19.5 puts him P3. Great effort from F1 Vetsku, ahead of his teammate Lifebout, who has spun, it looks like, and invalidated his lap, unless he's on an out lap at the moment. Speed Alcoholic using all the track through Lesmo 2 there. Desperate to get the best exit he can. I think that's Rick just behind him on the minimap, so we'll keep on board with Speed, but he's 4.5 tenths down on his previous best, so Speed is not going to improve. What about Rick though? Oh, very wide at Ascari. That's going to cost him at least a second, I think, all the way down this straight, and he's going to have to go again. He's going to be gutted with that. He loves this track, does the young Dutchman, as Short Marcus goes into P4 meanwhile, with a 1 minute 19.6. Quite still a fair few tenths off Donev, but not a bad effort at all from Short Marcus, the ESRL sprint champion. I hear we're going to have another sprint season before F1 23 as well in ESRL, so I look forward to that. Is anyone on a lap? NER Ayrton. The camera's not showing it, but he is on a lap. He's nearly a tenth up in Sector 1, but Denev's gone faster, a 19.252, so Denev is going to have to... Ayrton's going to have to find a bit more time than it seemed, although I don't think that was too much faster from Denev. Very, very close to his previous best time, because that, I swear that that time didn't change at all. I think it was about half a tenth that he improved by. I think it was a 19.30 or something. Ayrton, though, half a tenth down in Sector 2, hasn't nailed the Lesmos, and he's gone too much! Ayrton's into the wall! Is he out? No, the car is still going. He hasn't lost a tyre, so we will get an opportunity to go again. Very, very lucky for the championship leader there. But he is really pushing hard to beat Donev today. Short Marcus, Lifebout obviously binned his lap. Speed Alcoholic is not on a lap. What about Aces? He's not on a lap. Denis Ivanov has invalidated, but he was quite a way up. Rick was having a drink. I am from the UK, yes, Lapis. Do I like F1 Vetsku's F1 TikToks? I can't say I've seen F1 Vetsku's TikToks. I do not have TikTok. And I will never have TikTok. But I'm sure they're great. So we've entered a quiet phase of quali. 4.5 minutes to go in the session. Everyone heading to the pits. The two AlphaTauris have gone out on an outlap. They're very close together. I don't know if that's by design or whether that's just pure coincidence that they went out at a similar time to each other. But who knows, they might be in a party and giving each other a tow. Avi also way down, 1.5 seconds off the pace. That's a big surprise from the Mercedes driver, previous Constructors champion in ESRL. Hello Zach! Zach, great to see you in the chat. How are you, buddy? Yeah, I see you've joined us for ESRL Monza, which is not at all a bad time to join ESRL. This track always produces great races in this league. How excited Rick gets when he sees me. I mean, we don't see you very often, Zach, so it's always good to see you. APP legend. DTS Ayrton, Womax has gone back in the pits. I'm not sure why. Maybe invalidated at the exit Parabolica, and so he lost his lap. But DTS Ayrton is still going, so right on board with the Greek driver once again. Denis Ivanov out on an out lap, but everyone else waiting until the very last moment. We could get some real F1 here, where they all bunch up at this track to try and get slipstream off each other. But Ayrton very, very far over the curb at Delarogier, and losing the rear end, and I think that's going to cost him his lap. I think, yeah, he's backed off. So he will not go faster. He's going to have to try again. Do I watch the Premier League? I watch Match of the Day occasionally, but I follow it. I don't watch it because I don't have Sky, because it's too bloody expensive. But I do follow the Premier League, as well as multiple other leagues in football. If you're going to ask me what team I support, I don't support a team in the Premier League. If you forced me to say a team that I like the most in the Premier League, I'd say Brighton. But I do not support a team in the Premier League. Other than I don't like Manchester City, but that's it. And Newcastle, I suppose, with their new owners. But anyway, Denis Ivanov is on a lap. We've got to stop talking about the Premier League. Your most standout moment was bottling Tier 1. Well, he might win the F2 Cup. Who knows? He's leading that championship at the moment. But Denis Ivanov, through the first chicane, looking decent so far. Everyone's gone out on their outlaps now. He's getting a tow from his teammate Ayrton, it looks like. They're definitely in a party. This is a great tow from Ayrton. Should gain Denis about maybe half a tenth to a tenth. Down towards the Delarogier, and he's nearly 2/10 up on his previous best. So Denis Ivanov looking to fire his way up the timing sheets here. 2/10 would get him up another couple of places, and then another half-tenth would get him up another one, so he could find himself in the top 5. What's the time going to be at the end of Sector 2? Down towards Ascari. DRS open all the way down. He's lost all the time that he gained in Sector 1, and he's invalidated at Ascari. Disaster for Denis. He's wasted the tow that his teammate gave him. I think he's now going to wait and give Ayrton a tow. I suppose not, because Ayrton's just coming through, so obviously no Aston Martin not really about giving each other tows. Ayrton gives Denis a tow, but Denis doesn't bother with his teammate down towards turn 1. But Ayrton is the man we've got to watch, because he is 2/10 down. He's got to find some time as the defending champ and the championship leader by 30 points. All he needs to do basically is finish decently the next 3 rounds and he'll easily win the title. But this is NER Ayrton. He wants to win every race, and so far he's done very well at exactly that, except race 1 and the ones where he crashed. But coming through towards Delarogier now, he is nearly a tenth up. Well, just over half a tenth in Sector 1. What about Denev? He's just about half a tenth up. No, he's just coming through Sector 1 now, so we don't know. What about this? Here we go, down towards the Sector 1 line. He's a half a tenth down, so Denev not improving. It's all on Ayrton. Can he do anything to dethrone the current pole man? What about Vetsku as well? We can't forget about him. Speed Alcoholic up to P3. Great effort from him. Ayrton, what is he? Is he up? I think he was up. I couldn't see because of the chat message, but down towards the final corner he goes. This is much better from NER Ayrton. Is Denev improving? I'm not sure. No, he's not. He's gained a bit of time, but he's not improving still as Ayrton comes around Parabolica to finish off his lap. Final attempt from the championship leader. Short Marcus goes P4. What about Ayrton? It's a 19.3. It's not enough. He lost too much time there in the final sector, and Ayrton will be P2 at best. What about F1 Vetsku? He's invalidated. Denev coming up to the line. Can he improve any more? Yes, he can. A 19.1. What a final sector from Denev. Beautiful lap from the Alpine driver. He takes pole position. Vetsku, the Aces versus Kings up to P7. Great effort from him. Rick is going to be gutted with P13. 1.6 seconds off the pace. He's going to be very, very annoyed with himself for that. But there is your grid. Martin all the way down in 9th, by the way. That's a big surprise. Lifeboat was 4/10 up. He always says that. Every qualifying session. I was 4/10 up, but I invalidated. Rick didn't change his tyres, so, well, there's his excuse. Rick says last to top 5. We will see. I do hope we do see that. But there we go. There's your grid. Deneuve on pole position, but Ayrton will join him on the front row. Just needs a decent finish. Speed Alcoholic P3. Great lap from him. Short Markers 4th. Vetsku in 5th in the end. And then Lifebout Aces. Dennis Ivanov, TF Martin all the way down in 9th. DTS Ayrton, Avi. And then Rick was last. And I think it was... Oh, who was 12th? I can't remember now. It went off too quickly. I do apologise to whoever that was. Woomax, of course. How could I forget Woomax? There we go. We're getting ready for the race now. I believe formation lap is on. It's not starting well for you, is it? We do have rain to start the Italian Grand Prix. But I do hear that it will get dry later on in the race. Your best friend Yola took pole in Tier 2. Congrats to Yola. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. Lifebout seems to be questioning that it's getting dry at the end, so maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm just going off hearsay. Zach has a 100% win rate in ESRL. It's true, he does. How do you reckon you do against Ayrton, Zach? Everyone just choosing their setups as we get ready to go. I wonder if they're all going to be on inters or slicks. It is raining, but it doesn't look too wet. But it will probably be inters. 30 seconds to go. You'd smash him. Haven't raced properly on F122 ever. Fair enough. See, this is the thing. I'd love to get more into commentary, but I just don't have the time. I would rather race than commentate. Usually. Not for ESRL, but usually. I would rather race than commentate. So I don't know. But money is nice, but you know, it's just, I don't know. I give myself too many commitments. That's my problem, and then I can't add more, and then I have to end up removing a few. So yeah, Sumo is a pro now. Yeah, he is. Good pronounce. I'm very glad. I know the reason why I got that right is because I know of a Dutch person called Jelle, and his name is pronounced Jelle, so I assumed it was the same for your friend, but with an O instead of an E. I'm not a language man. I would say I know a bit of French, but that's only from school, and British schools are notoriously bad at teaching French, despite you learning French for like 10 years, like as a mandatory subject. but they're so shit at teaching it that after that it doesn't matter. You don't learn that much of it. But anyway, we're heading to the grid now on this formation lap. You are fast-tracked after APPF1. Some people spend years and don't get the chance. Yeah, it's it can be like that sometimes, but you still have to have the talent, you know. Some people get fast-tracked without having the talent, and then they quickly lose that fast track. So it takes someone with talent to get even further ahead, even after being fast-tracked, and that's certainly what you've got, mate. So keep it up. But anyway, everyone getting to the grid now as we get ready to start the Italian Grand Prix. So Aces is the last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Italian Grand Prix. It looks like a good start from Ayrton. He's alongside Deneuve already, heading down to turn 1, but it's a better start for the second row. It's 4 wide towards turn 1. Speed Alcoholic has to be barged off the track. Deneuve is down to 4th momentarily, but Ayrton takes the lead, but Speed Alcoholic is now in the lead. No, he's not. He's had to miss the corner. He's all the way down to 7th. Ayrton takes the lead. Short Marcus right behind. Deneuve is in P3 now from pole. Can Short Marcus do anything round the outside of Ayrton through Delarogier? Can he make it work? Not quite, but Ayrton has to cut over the curb, so there might be a switchback on the horizon. There's carnage further back. Lifebout's up to P3, but it's quickly back down. Short Marcus with a huge slide. How on earth is he still on the track? I do not know, but he is P2, just behind Ayrton still. Deneuve down to P3, disaster start for him. Lifebout in P4, but it's not as much of a disaster as Speed Alcoholic, who's down to P10. Rick has gone up a place, but he's quickly lost it again to Aces. He's back down to 12th, very close at the back there, but we've got to keep an eye on the front because it's the 2 Williams just behind Deneuve. And Avi trying to get up as well. Avi, where's he come from? Hang on, where can I do... There we go, position change. Avi up 5 spots. What a start for the Mercedes driver. Fantastic stuff. Lifebout's gone wide at Parabolica in the wet. So is Avi, just as I sing his praises. Is commentator's curse in full flow. Ayrton sets the fastest lap, but Short Marcus is right behind. Denis Ivanov already into the pits. He has yet to finish a race in ESRL, and this one has not started well for him. Martin up to P6 as well. He's up 3 spots in the Red Bull. And the 2 Williams still fighting to stay there. They've just swapped places, but they are still 4th and 5th as it stands. No such thing as the commentator's curse, only bad driving or bad luck. Talking about good driving, Short Marcus up the inside of Ayrton. I just about saw that in time, but I think he backed out of it before the braking zone. Very sensible in the wet conditions at Delarogier. You do not want to be sending it there. Lifebout right behind his teammate now through Lesmo 2. Martin a little bit wide on exit, as was Avi just behind. They've lost some time to Deneuve, over a second back already, so it's looking like a top 3 shootout, as we were pretty much expecting. Although Vetsku must be disappointed that he is losing time. Maybe he will gain it back through Ascari. And he has done. It was a great Ascari from Vetsku, so he's back within a second. So who knows? Obviously no DRS while the rain is out. But Ayrton still leads just about from Short Marcus, who's putting a lot of pressure on. Short Marcus great in the wet, it seems, compared to the championship leader. He can't quite find enough pace to overtake as it stands. Ayrton, fastest lap. Deneuve, fastest lap. Vetsku, fastest lap. It's being traded down the grid. But Short Marcus right behind. Rick in P10, 4 seconds back on lap 2. Last to wear challenge again. Ouchies. As Short Marcus a little bit tentative out of the first chicane. A couple of tenths down on Ayrton, but he gains them back on the straight. It seems like he's got a lower wing setup maybe than the Aston Martin, and that's why he's catching up so much. Lifebout obviously with 0-0 wings, as he admitted in chat earlier, so he might struggle in the corners, as is Short Marcus on the exit there. Just a few corrections on the wheel, lost a couple tenths again, and Ayrton could be streaking clear once again. I'm going to go for another broadcast. No problem, Zach. Thanks for popping in. Enjoy your broadcast, and I will very much enjoy the battles. And Rick, yes, Yellow's Marble Wings. I do have a long story about that, but that is not for this stream. Vetsku in P4. Tucked up behind Denev. He's doing fantastically so far, but Avi has spun, it looks like, at Ascari. He's got the car going again, but dropped another couple of positions, and what was a fantastic start has turned into a mediocre first 3 laps. Up 3 positions, it's not bad, but you know, he was up 5. Ayrton's out! Ayrton's out of the race! Oh my goodness me, how has that happened? He was well clear. That must have been a simple mistake from the championship leader. You do not see that at all. I don't think I've seen Ayrton ever make a fatal error like that while leading a race. He makes errors when he's chasing, but not while leading a race. That is astonishing. I cannot believe that's happened. So no points for Ayrton today. The championship might well be back on if Denev can win this race, and Short Markers is in with a shot as well. It's only 25 points for winning, so Ayrton will still be leading the championship after this race, but by how many points? It was 30 points before today. It could be a lot fewer. As it stands at the moment, I'm not sure how far behind Short Markers is in the standings, but I don't think he's that far behind Denev, as the two of them now find themselves leading this race. Short Markers in particular, he is flying at the moment in these wet conditions. He's doing a fantastic job. Denev, a poor start, but he will be absolutely delighted to have seen his championship rival, who's 30 points clear, crash out like that. I do not know what happened to Ayrton. Avi down the inside with Speed Alcoholic in the meantime, on the way to Parabolica. Speed leaves him just enough room on the inside. Can Avi get past him, get the grip on the exit? Yes, he can. What about Speed? He has to tuck in with the slipstream. No DRS still wet conditions, of course, as here comes Speed again, though, down the inside with that slipstream. Is he going to be ahead before turn 1? Not quite, and he tries to squeeze Avi out. Avi onto the grass as a result. He's not going to be happy about that, but Speed is passed as a result. I'm not sure how kindly Avi is going to take to that, though, as DTS Ayrton now within half a second, and Rick is going to be catching them in that Red Bull. 2.5 seconds is the gap at the moment, but I'm sure he'll cut that down, although there's a 4.5 second gap between Speed and Mar10 in 5th. So Rick might well struggle with that last to first challenge unless a safety car comes to save the day. Vetsku is really pushing. His steering wheel sounds like a drilling machine. Well, that's right on board with the Williams driver. He's still right behind Denev. He is doing brilliantly here. Clearly he's a big fan of this track as he goes through Ascari in these wet conditions. Dennis gets himself a 3-second time penalty. It's not a good day for Aston Martin. But Denev knows he has to maximise this now. He has to take full advantage of Ayrton's crash. And he has to do everything he can to win this race, because every point is going to matter against someone like Ayrton. Ayrton, again, if he doesn't win, he crashes. If he doesn't crash, he wins. That's pretty much this season in a nutshell. But today, he's crashed from the lead, which I don't think he's ever done before. I don't think I've ever seen him do that. So that is a first from Ayrton. I don't think Short Marcus was anywhere near, so there can't have been contact. He must have just lost it, which is so rare. When he's chasing, he often does push a little bit too hard, and we see the mistakes creep in for the defending champ. But when he's not pushing, when he's leading a race fairly comfortably, he was building a gap to Short Marcus, and he's binned it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Put that in your history books, because that's not something that's going to happen very often in ESRL. NER Ayrton binning it from the lead of a race. But it's now Short Marcus who leads the race, and he's leading it very well. He's maintaining the gap to Donev. No DRS, of course, so the 1 second range doesn't really matter, but it sort of does for the slipstream, even so. As they go down towards turn 1 now. I'm trying to figure out who has the lower wing setup. It looks like Vetsku, I think. But it's tough to tell, really. Down that straight. I think it's very close between the two of them on wing levels, but Donev seemed like he struggled through the first chicane. Rick making moves. He's past DTS Ayrton, but only briefly, as Ayrton forces him a little bit wide, but all's fair there, I think. Rick was just not pushing his luck, but it's very difficult to overtake around the outside there. And it's very difficult to leave room on the exit, because especially in the wet conditions. But DTS Ayrton, I'm sure he did the absolute best he could, and Rick up to P8, 2 seconds between him and Avi. And then a little... oh, but he's had a big spin, big slide there. That's very well held from the Dutchman. I don't know how he's kept that on the track. That was similar to what Short Marcus did at the same corner on lap 1. So very nicely done from Rick, but it has lost him about half a second. So no overtakes happening at the moment. Lap 7 of 27. 20 laps to go after this one. As they all funnel through Parabolica. No one really close enough to make a move, of course, in the wet. It's a lot more difficult to overtake around here. No DRS. You're not going to get that extra boost down the straight. Vetsku, what's his ERS at? It's about half. Donev about just above half. Short Marcus about half as well. Obviously it's very easy to save ERS in the wet conditions, and Lifebout is not actually doing too bad in that Williams. He's keeping with the top 3. I thought he would be dropping off a lot more by now, but obviously Rain, the great equaliser. And he is just about staying within that gap. And maybe he can close them down and turn this into a 4-horse race. Martin is going to try and make it 5, but 4 seconds is quite a gap to make up. Speed Alcoholic as well. He's sitting in P6, very lonely at the moment. And Avi just behind him, 1.3 seconds, as Rick has lost quite a bit of time in that first sector to Avi. I'm not sure quite what happened to the Dutchman. That's a mistake at a crucial time, but we've got to cut back to the front because Vetsku is, again, just behind Donev, but it's just not enough to really think about making a move at any point. It seems like he's better in the second sector than Donev, but and maybe in the first. But Donev just seems to extend that gap when he doesn't really have any right to. Let's run on board with Vetsku for a bit and try and find out where the gap is slipping away. So Donev was very wide there in turn 1. So that will have lost him a couple of tenths, and you can see that on the timing screen. But Martin gets the first corner cutting penalty of the race, unless you count Denis Ivanov. Vetsku with a purple sector 1, so he is flying through the first part of the track. But there we go, a bit late on turn-in for the second corner of De La Rogier through Lesmo. Is Donev going to gain some time here? I think Donev just a little bit more confident on the power out of Lesmo too, is my guess. Dennis gets another penalty, but no, it seems about equal, so I'm not quite sure what is keeping Vetsku here from getting any closer. Through Ascari they come, and he misses the first apex, and that is going to be crucial, and that is probably where the gap is going. Yeah, that's all the time that he gained in the first part of the lap gone again through Ascari. So perhaps just breaking a little bit earlier into Ascari and turning in a little bit earlier will help the Finnish driver in his quest to try and overtake Donev at some point. So we'll keep an eye on that, but Rick is now caught up to Avi, 8 tenths in it. So Rick is pushing well, but just inconsistent, and he did mention that to me before this race. He said he's quick but inconsistent. And the same seems to be clear for Speed Alcoholic, because he's just set the fastest lap from P6 from absolutely nowhere. I'm not sure where that fastest lap came from, but he has set it and he's now got it. Maybe the track's drying out, or maybe Speed just put in an absolute blinder. Maybe both. Denis Ivanov in the pits again, and he's retired from the session, and he once again continues his record of never finishing a race in ESRL. Both Aston Martins now out of the race. Obviously one a lot more consequential than the other, no offence Dennis. But Aces got a penalty for corner cutting, so I'm assuming he missed the first chicane and had to cut across it. And unfortunately the game gave him a penalty for that, but again Aces just can't really seem to have the race pace in ESRL this season. It just doesn't seem to happen. He has decent qualifying pace most of the time, but in the race he just loses it as TF Martin, talking of losing it, Ascari, and that's coming. He's come back onto the track very dangerously there. The stewards might have a word with him about that, but he's down to P8. Disaster for him. He's spun it round Ascari, just like he did in qualifying. And all the way down to 9th place, and that gifts Rick a position, but again he's lost a load of time to Avi, so he's really struggling for consistency at the moment in the Red Bull. Vetsku's still right behind Denev, but still unable to find a way through. Martin has also retired in the pit lane. He's had enough after that spin, so we're down to 10 drivers now. I'd say that's a bit premature from Martin. I would be surprised if no one else crashed out, and it seems likely we'll have a safety car at some point, so maybe he had somewhere to be, who knows. What happened to NER Ayrton? Good question. Very good question. I don't know the answer. He was leading the race quite comfortably. He had about a second gap to short Marcus. It was about lap 4 or something like that, and then just binned it at Parabolica on the exit. It was just, the last I saw him, he was in the wall at the exit on the outside. I've no idea how he did it, but maybe a bit of a Charles Leclerc situation, but NER Ayrton binning it from the lead of a race is something I've never seen before. So, very, very odd. I do wonder how that happened to him. But the point is, it has happened, and he's got to deal with it. So the points gap could come down quite a lot in this race between him and his rivals. He had a 30-point gap coming into this race, like I said earlier. So that's going to come down quite a lot. He will still be leading the championship, but by how many points is yet to be determined. These top three now, all within a second of each other. Denev has caught up a bit to short Marcus. As who's that's binned it? I think that is Avi. It is at turns 1 and 2, or the exit of 2. And Mercedes has to get going again, but he's down to P8 now, and gifts Rick another position. He's up to P6 from 13th on the grid. Very nicely done from Rick, although I don't think there's been many actual overtakes. He made one on DTS Ayrton, but other than that, just lap 1 and another big slide at Lesmo 1 holds it very well. Nice Tokyo drift, and he's braked too late for Lesmo 2. No, he hasn't. He's lagged back on the track. Okay, nice one. Thank you for your wonderfully made game, EA. He has now left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. I don't think there's too much happening, so I might send him another invite. Game crash. Let me know if you need another invite, Rick. But yeah, these top three still all within a second of each other. And Avi just behind at DTS Ayrton as well, as they catch up to Rick's AI. He does want another invite. Okay, I will send him one very quickly. If it will let me. It will let me. Where are you, Rick? Okay, it will come in-game, Rick. So you should be able to join now. DTS Ayrton braking for turns 1 and 2 as they pass through Rick's AI. Not quite yet, but they will very soon. Yeah, I still have crossplay on, so I can't send a direct PS invite because I'm not on PS5. Rick down to P8 with his AI. So more recovery to do for the Dutchman. He is back in the session though, so hopefully he can take control of his car relatively quickly, but we've got to keep an eye on these top three, all within a second of each other. Short Marcus leading the race still, but none of them can really make a move at this point. It's going to take a mistake from one of them for a move to be made, as that little judder in the timing screen shows that Rick has gotten back into the session and back into his car as Vetsku sets the fastest lap in the Williams in P3. He is flying right now. I would love to see the tyre wear, because I don't know if they are going to need to pit or if they can go all the way to the end. Speed with the fastest lap again. So he's found his feet once again in that Ferrari. Lifebout has dropped back a couple of seconds to what he was at last time I checked. 3.5 seconds to the top three now, but he's still very nice. Nicely sat in P4 there. There's the three of them all trundle over that curb on the inside of De La Rogier. I will have to try that. I thought you had to avoid that curb, but they all seem to be going over it with no problem whatsoever, so I'll have to try that myself. Any idea what the forecast was pre-race? Well, I had one person said it would rain for a bit of the race, so I assumed it would dry up later, and then one person who said it won't. So I have no idea, Max, to be honest with you. We'll just have to find out as the clouds... well, it does seem to be clearing the sky, I will say, and I can't see raindrops, to be honest. So it does look like it's drying up. Maybe that's why the fastest laps are pouring in. No one into the pits yet, but will there be another fastest lap? Yes, there will. Deneuve sets the fastest lap now. A 1:27.9. Will Speed come across the line and beat it again, I wonder? He's coming through Parabolica now in the Ferrari. Down towards the line? No, not this time. But it doesn't look like it's raining, to be honest. It looks like it's drying up, so I think we might be on slicks before the end of this race. And DRS will be enabled. And that will be the key. But these three right next to each other. It could be three wide to turn one. Avi blocks Rick from getting down the inside. I don't think Rick's going to be too happy about that. But he goes down around the outside instead. The inside for turn two. Can he get it foot to the floor? Not quite. Avi with a bit of a snap of oversteer on the exit. But keeps the place. And Rick is going to have to try again, as he comes now round the outside of De La Rogier. Surely he can't make this work in the wet. He's going to go for it though, and there's contact, inevitable. But somehow Rick has kept it on the road. Not really much Avi could do about that, I don't think. But they come through. Lesmo 1, Rick a bit wide. He's struggling in these wet conditions with no line. And I'm sure he's still having fun. He loves this track, no matter what's going on. Deneuve has lost quite a lot of time to Short Marcus, though. Must have been a mistake from the Alpine, or maybe Short Marcus is just putting foot to the floor. 27.9 on that last lap for the British driver. And the gap is now 1.1 seconds as we continue in this race. Still doesn't look like it's raining. That's definitely a mistake from Deneuve. And here comes Vetsku just behind, but he can't quite make a move. He's just so difficult to get the power down in the wet soon enough to make a move, even after a mistake from the driver in front. And Deneuve loses about half a second as a result of that mistake. He's going to have to gain that back somehow, but Short Marcus is driving impeccably in that Alfa Romeo at the front at the moment. He wants to get himself back in this championship fight. Talking of the championship, I just want to quickly find out where Short Marcus is in the championship. How many points behind is he? Short Marcus is 33 points behind. Deneuve was 30 points behind before this race. Obviously Ayrton is out, so as it stands, Short Marcus would get 26 because of the fastest lap. Deneuve would get 20, so Short Marcus would be just 7 points behind NER Ayrton, and Deneuve would be 15 behind. So quite important this is for this race win. who gets this, and at the moment Short Marcus looks unbeatable, and I am still seeing raindrops. It's another fastest lap for Short Marcus. He is flying, but I'm not sure if the track is getting any better. It's obviously getting a little better, and there's clearly not much rain that I can see, if any, but it's not getting better very fast, and that's the key. It doesn't seem to on this game with a lot of tracks. It just seems to linger on the track, still keep it greasy for quite a while even after it stopped raining. So it can take quite a while for it to be slick tyres. They still file through. Lifebout now 4 seconds down on these top three. So he's pretty much in no man's land, unfortunately, in that Williams. I'm sure he'll be happy with a P4. Up 17 of 27. 10 laps to go at the end of this one. Will we get onto the slick tyres before the end of this race? I do wonder. I think it will be tight. I think there's going to be some awkward decisions to make in terms of pitting for slicks from the drivers. Deneuve has caught right back up though. That gap was 1.7 seconds last lap, and there's the proof. Fastest lap for both of these two. Deneuve and then Vetsku shortly after. The track is definitely getting better. And Deneuve back to within 1.3 seconds, but still Short Marcus is comfortably leading at the moment. But was that a mistake? It seemed like it, because that's a lot of time gained for Deneuve. A couple of tenths through turns 1 and 2. Short Marcus lost some time at that lap and at the start of this one. At the moment, all he needs to do is stay on track, and I don't think Deneuve can really make any sort of move in these conditions. If it gets dry, Short Marcus may well be in trouble, and I'm spotting a very small gap as Avi down the inside of DTS Ayrton in an awkward position. He can't quite get the move done. Rick's right there as well, trying to get past both of them after his failed attempt a few laps ago. Here comes Avi again. He's going to go for it round the outside of Delarogier. Rick's going to go down the inside. No, he's going to back out very sensibly. I'd be very surprised if he went for that. But Avi has to back out as well eventually, as Rick has a little look through Lesmo 1, just letting Avi know he's still there, but not really having any intention to send it. As DTS Ayrton continues to keep these guys behind. He's doing a stellar job in that AlphaTauri, keeping them behind. They're definitely fast. Oh no, Short Marcus, he's into the pits. He's in the pits. I thought he'd binned it. No, he's into the pits. Is it slick tyres? Let's change to the tyres here. Is it slick tyres for Short Marcus? Let's find out. Into the Alfa Romeo garage he goes. It's a set of the medium tyres for Short Marcus. He has gone for it. He's thought it is all or nothing now. Medium tyres, he's the first to do it from the lead of the race. It's very, very brave from Short Marcus, and that is some crazy good driving to keep it out the wall there on exit. He's trying to warm up the tyres, but I think this might be too early for Short Marcus. We will see. Vetsku now putting pressure on Deneuve, who is now leading the race. When are these guys going to come in for slicks? Are they going to see Short Marcus come in and react, or are they going to think, no, he's made the wrong decision? He has made the wrong decision, I think. He's losing a huge amount of time to speed, and I think Marcus has just bottled his own race with a poor strategy decision. I've been there. Trust me, I am terrible at making decisions in these conditions on pit stops, so I no criticism, because I'm exactly the same. But that, I think, is a very poor decision from Short Marcus. He's really struggling, and he's binned it. He's binned it. He's in the wall. It was bold. It was brave, but it was the wrong decision from Short Marcus. He's down to P9. He's still really struggling on those tyres. The top two have stayed out, and Short Marcus has thrown it away. He is going to be absolutely gutted with that. So annoyed with himself. Speed Alcoholic has come in as well, so it is starting to be slicks, but no, Speed's come in for another set of inters. I'm not sure if that's deliberate. Whether he meant to do that, I don't know, but he is onto the inters. Maybe short markers went for it because those inters were starting to drop off in terms of the wear. We do still have another 8 laps to go in this race, so if they are starting to go, then you are going to struggle to get them to the end from here. Short markers in the pits again. Oh, no. He was comfortably leading this race. He was so comfortable. Speed Alcoholic is ahead of Aces in the meantime. But, oh, so comfortable in the lead of this race. But now he's on the verge of being lapped. A second pit stop, a front wing change. And Short Marcus back out on the intermediates. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What a shame that is. But look who's promoted for P3 as a result. Lifebout, the Dutchman. As Avi has finally gotten past DTS Ayrton. I'm not sure quite where that happened. But the Mercedes up to P4 finally from this AlphaTauri, who's been doing a stellar job at keeping him behind for all this time. And it might not be over yet as Ayrton has a look down the inside for Parabolica, but could that open him up to Rick on the exit? Here comes the Red Bull driver. He's got a better exit as a result. Overtake enabled on the ERS front, and he's whoring the slipstream of this AlphaTauri. Down the inside he goes, down towards turn 1, but Avi's there as well, and they've both got to slow down to avoid hitting the Mercedes, but Rick is through up to P5, and he's got Avi back again in front of him. He's going to be a little bit tired of seeing that red Ineos rear wing this race. But what a battle it's been between the two of them as Speed Alcoholic approaches as well on those fresh intermediate tyres. Do not count him out. I'm sure he will get past all of them as long as he keeps it clean, because those old intermediates must be absolutely screaming by this point. As here he goes, Short Marcus desperately hoping for a safety car, but it's not coming. No one else is crashing at the moment, but Donev and Vetsku both in. Both of them in at the same time. Obviously Vetsku just reacted to Donev coming in. Lifebout now leads the Italian Grand Prix. What tyres are they going on? Donev into the pits, fresh intermediates. Vetsku on the soft, he's gone for slicks. Surely that's the wrong decision. We saw a few laps ago Short Marcus onto the mediums. It was the wrong decision for him. Is it going to be the wrong decision for Vetsku? He's sideways out the pit lane and all the way down to turn 1. It's a poor decision from Vetsku. I don't know if he saw what happened to Short Marcus, but he is really struggling early on those softs, and he's round. It's a poor decision. It's not slick tyres yet. It's going to be inters to the end. It is still damp, even though it's not raining. And Vetsku down to P3, 12 seconds behind Donev, who is now in prime position to win this race, assuming Lifebout has to pit, but he doesn't. He doesn't have to. He can stay out to the end. You don't have to fit two different sets of tyres in the wet conditions. Avi is now past Vetsku. Rick is now past Vetsku, and this could be for the podium. Short Marcus sets the fastest lap, but it doesn't matter with how far behind he is. Speed Alcoholic past Vetsku as well. Down to P6 goes the Finnish driver. And it's two drivers in that top 3 have bottled it from a poor decision to go on the slicks too early. And you have to feel for them. You really have to feel for them. It's so easy to do. It's basically a lottery when Mark is telling you things that are contradicting what you're seeing on track. But sometimes you've just got to go with your gut. And if your gut's wrong, then that is all there is to it. So huge shame for Vetsku and Short Marcus here. They're both going to be gutted. Short Marcus is going to think he's bottled a chance at the championship with that strategic error. But here comes Rick round the outside of Avi. Their battle goes on, this race-long battle as Rick is forced on the grass. He again is not going to be happy about that. I think that's the second time that he's going to feel a bit disgruntled about Avi's actions on track today. But I mean, that's a matter for the stewards. Vetscu down to P7. It's still not slick tyre territory for the Williams driver. He's going to be furious with himself, as is Short Marcus. Rick still right behind Avi. Speed Alcoholic looking for a way through as well. Donev is catching Lifebout, but talking of Lifebout, he has gone. Is there a puncture on that Williams? Yes, there is. He tried to stay out all the way to the end, but those inters were not going to go. It's a puncture for Lifebout, and Donev has gotten past into the lead of the race. Lifebout's going to have to come in for a fresh set of inters. Is he going to be behind Rick, though? That's the question. Could he still get out ahead of them? It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to. No, 18, 17 seconds. It's going to be down to at least 14 by the time he enters the pits. Speed Alcoholic round the outside of Avi. In the meantime, I cannot catch a break here. Round Parabolica he goes, and he's made the move up to P4 on those fresh intermediate tyres. Rick stays out another lap despite seeing Lifebout's puncture. Rick is trying to go to the end on these inters. Speed is ahead. He's up to P2 now. Lifebout exits the pits in P6, but DTS Ayrton and Aces both yet to pit. He's behind his teammate Vetscu, who's still on the soft tyres and still charging on those slicks. But there's so much more grip on the inters, and Lifebout is straight away back ahead. And he could find himself on the podium here. Rick is still staying out on those inters. Avi's come out in P8. Are there going to be any more punctures? How many people are going to try and get these to the end? I would imagine that everyone who's stayed out is trying to get to the end now. As, I mean, certainly Rick's going to, because he's going to be thinking of the podium. From last on the grid, 13th to 3rd it could be, but can he get those tyres to the end? Lifebout had a puncture on lap 22. I'm sorry, lap 23. So, will those tyres get all the way? There's another 4 laps to go. It's going to be very tight for the Red Bull driver, for DTS Ayrton, and for Aces versus Kings. They're all going to try it. Lifebout's going to just careen past them on those fresh intermediate tyres, I would have thought. Rick into the pits. No, he doesn't think he can make it. He is headed into the pits, and that could gift Lifebout a podium here, even after the puncture. That's how on his own he was in the first stint. Even after a puncture, he could still find himself on the podium. Vetscu is committing to those soft tyres. Rick out on another set of the inters. He did get a puncture on the last corner, he just says on the stream. But Avi up to P7 in that Mercedes. Rick down to P8. But fresh inters, and here he is again. Look at this. Yet again, he's got an Ineos rear wing to stare at. Here comes Lifebout, though, on Aces versus Kings. Much, much fresher tyres. Aces on the verge of a puncture. We've seen 2 punctures already, and Lifebout straight past on the exit. No contest whatsoever in terms of the relative grip between the two. DTS Ayrton, though, is still out there on those inters, and he's in P3. Could he hold on to it? I don't think so. Lifebout is approaching at a rapid rate of knots. 1.5 seconds, 2 laps to go at the end of this one. I don't think DTS Ayrton's going to hold it even without a puncture. Those inters are just absolutely gone. As he goes around Parabolica, 0.5 second he lost in one corner to Lifebout. He didn't even do it that badly. It's just those tyres are gone. And Aces versus Kings lost 2 seconds in about 3 corners. I think this is inevitability now for DTS Ayrton. He's going to try it. He is going for it for 2 laps to go to try and get those inters to the end. Aces is doing the same thing. Vetscu's still on those softs, and still it's sort of on the boundary now as Rick again tries to go around the outside of Avi down towards turn 1, but can't manage it. Short Marcus sets the fastest lap, so he will get that extra point if he keeps it in the last 2 laps. But I don't think he's going to be thinking of that. He's going to be thinking, I have wasted a chance at the win. But Rick down the inside towards De La Rogier. They're side by side again. But Rick finally is past the Mercedes up to P7. as DTS Ayrton now loses the place to Lifebout, lets the Williams go. He's not really interested in fighting that. There's still, all 4 tyres are still on that AlphaTauri. How is there no puncher on that AlphaTauri? Same with this McLaren. How are they still going on those tyres? Vetsku is still 5 seconds down. He's keeping it in touch, even with those soft tyres. That's how bad those Inters are now. 25 laps old, 26 laps old now. But Vetsku, just like Short Marcus, is going to be thinking what could have been. He just had to go on the Inters and he would have had an amazing chance to win this race. But no, he chose the softs. He went for the risk. He went for the gamble. But it was a gamble too far, and he's going to find himself at best in P6 today, I think. And Short Marcus, P9 it's going to be for him. What a disaster from a comfortable lead of this race. He's going to be absolutely furious. These guys though, DTS Ayrton and Aces, they're still going on these tyres. Can they get them all the way to the end? What a fantastic stint it would be if they can. It's just half a lap to go, but Deneuve is coming around the final corner. This championship is back on. Deneuve wins the Italian Grand Prix, sets the fastest lap at 24.6 as well. How crucial could that be in the championship fight? Can anyone beat that? A 24.6 it was. Lifebout coming through, he's going to finish P3, but Speed Alcoholic round the final corner. He's going to take second place, which is more than he would have ever dreamed about after the first stint. He takes second. A great race from the South African. Lifebout's going to be absolutely ecstatic with a podium. Third place for him. DTS Ayrton manages to get the tyres to the end in P4. Same for Aces. Brilliant stuff from them. Well done to the two of them. Vetsku is going to snatch P5 at the line thanks to Aces' penalty. But what could have been for him? He could have been fighting for this win. He had so much pace on those Inters. Rick destroys his car over the line. He finishes 7th. Avi finishes 8th. Short Marcus. Oh, Short Marcus. P9 for the Alfa Romeo. Head in his hands, I'm sure. Womack is going to come across the line to finish in 10th place. But, oh wow, Short Marcus and Vetsku. What a shame. Rick gets driver of the day from the game. I do have to decide my own driver of the day. So I will come to that. Mark should shut up. So much false info. Yeah, I do imagine so. That usually happens in these sorts of races. But it is Deneuve who takes the race win here in Monza. 26 points for him. He got the fastest lap as well. I don't think anyone else took it from him. That is crucial. A crucial point. And he's going to be 4 points behind NER Ayrton with 2 rounds to go. I still can't see Ayrton losing the title. I still can't see it. But Deneuve has given himself one hell of a chance with a commanding race win. He made the right decision on the tyres, held it together in the battles in the first stint, and got himself the fastest lap to boot. Deneuve takes the race win with the fastest lap. Speed Alcoholic takes a brilliant P2 in his Ferrari. Lifebout P3, and like he says in chat, just 200ths from taking that fastest lap. How crucial is that going to be in the title race? DTS Ayrton finishes in P4. Credit has to go to DTS Ayrton and Aces for taking those Inters at 27 laps. Even after they saw the punctures, they still kept it going and they managed to make it. Brilliant driving, great tyre saving. Vetsku finishes a disappointing P5. It could have been a race victory. Rick finishes P7 from the back of the grid. I'm sure he'll take it. He got past Avi in the end. Short Marcus in P9, the sad story of the day. Womack's P10, and then Martin, Denis Ivanov, and of course, NER Ayrton, the championship leader, the double defending champion, is out of this race and loses 26 points of his 30-point margin to Deneuve. 4 points will be the gap in the Drivers' Championship. With 2 rounds to go, Short Marcus could have been in that fight, but he's going to need a double DNF from Ayrton and Deneuve. He's going to need them to take each other out at some point in the next 2 rounds to be in with a shout now. So unfortunate for him. But there we have it. My driver of the day is DTS Ayrton. I'm not even going to really think about it. I know him and Aces both took those inters to the end, but DTS Ayrton finished ahead. he was the lead one of the two. So fantastic job. Well done, DTS Ayrton. You a very deserved driver of the day and 5th place finish. Was it 4th? I think it was 4th actually. 4th place finish for him. But wow, what a race. What a race. In Monza, it always delivers, like Scott always says. Some very bad luck on the strategy, and some great racing, and some drama as well. A couple of people being forced onto the grass a couple of times, but fantastic race. I very much enjoyed it. I sincerely doubt that Deneuve will be able to do the interview. Speed as well, he doesn't have a mic. And I mean, we could interview Lifebout, but I don't know. Do you want an interview, Lifebout? Do you want an interview if you're still watching? I'm going to assume he's gone, so I think we'll leave it. I think he pretty much was on his own the whole race anyway. Other than other than the puncture. Japan next. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, Lifebout, there was one question I wanted to ask you. What % were your tyres at when they poofed? Wow, that was fun. Well done, Speed. Fantastic P2 for you. 88%. And Aces... and Aces and DTS Ayrton went another 6 laps. My God. Wow. Well, still a commanding P3 from you. Pretty much raced your own race for most of that. I'm sure your heart was in your mouth with the puncture, but still managed to salvage a very well-earned podium. But there we go. That is your Italian Grand Prix. 2 rounds to go. Japan and I believe Brazil is the last race of the season. So I will see you for that. They must have been saving a lot. Very good job. I echo that sentiment. Fantastic job from the both of them to get those tyres to the end. Not ideal at the start, but you made the best of it. You certainly did, Speed. Well done. And of course, well done to Deneuve. But that means, of course, 4 points between Deneuve and NER Ayrton with 2 rounds to go. Deneuve is going to have to beat Ayrton on merit in a straight fight. He's going to have to do it. He hasn't done it yet this season. He's going to have to. The only times he's beaten his rival is when Ayrton has crashed. So Deneuve is going to have to pull out all the stops to take this title, but it is well and truly on. Japan next week. I will see you then. Thank you for watching. I've been Ghost. This has been ESRL, and goodbye.